What's up, y'all? I've been having a good time today. Wow. I got people sitting here in front of me on both sides. I have my daughter, Kyra. She's sitting here smiling, like wondering, Daddy, what you about to say? And then I have my daughter, Allison, sitting over here, and she got a hand over her face thinking, oh my God. And my wife, Marquita, is sitting there thinking, oh my, I hope this goes really well. But listen, it's Wednesday. It's in the black. And it's after 5. And I got a drink in a steel cup. A steel cup. Now, this is the kind of cup you drink a shot out of. But the stuff I got in here, if you drink a shot, you're might fall down out the chair. So I'm not going to drink a shot because I don't want to fall down. But I am going to take like a sip. Here's a sip. Here's a sip. So I've been busy. You know, you can say what you want to say about COVID. So COVID had us getting up, having these meetings. In my case, it was next door in my home office, desk, computer, television, telephones, 4 or 5 different devices. And I love the commercials where they show the people, they got their tops on and then they got nothing. And so you could have your pajamas on. It didn't really matter. You don't have to put your video on. So we have come out of COVID. Officially, we have come out of COVID. 2 days in a row, maybe 3, I've had meetings where I had to be face to face. And so being face to face in meetings is something that for the past year and a half, I haven't had to do. It's amazing how quick you get out of the habit of doing stuff. So I'm really, I'm really like feeling just going, not getting up and doing kind of stuff like that. And it's just, it's good to be able to do it like that. But I will say that I am so happy to be able to have more of the kind of interaction with people. I got an email from a friend of mine, a colleague that works for a bank today, to say that mid-month, next month, they're going back in full time. We're going to go have lunch. We're going to do all this kind of stuff. So great. And I just hope all of you have, number one, taken COVID very seriously. Number 2, had your vaccine. And all this BS about, the vaccine being something to trick Black folks, don't buy that. Don't buy it. If it is, fall victim to it. But I would suggest that you not buy that. Go ahead and get your vaccine, because I think it's very, very important that we get it. So as soon as we can get things back to normal, we're able to do that. So I just want to share that. So it's a lot of stuff happening now. I'm a sports fan. I always got to talk about sports. Like 9 months out the year, that may be 3 months I don't talk about sports. I can't figure out which 3 they are. But, and I'm a Laker fan, so the Lakers are gone. So I could like pass by the NBA. But Phoenix, Phoenix is bad. I mean, they swept Denver. And so we still got, Brooklyn still playing, and Atlanta. The Hawks are really playing. They got a good team. They're 2-2, I think, with the Sixers. So I think that's good. So really, the NBA has got my interest. I hope it has yours. It's good to see more teams and more cities and more fan bases really able to get enthusiastic about sports. And all the time that really doesn't happen, because, we know in college football, it's roll tide. We dominate. And so when you're a Georgia fan or a South Carolina fan, or heaven forbid, you're a Mississippi State fan, then you don't really get to pull for much stuff after, like, December the 10th. But it's good for the NBA, because we get a lot of folks that get a chance to pull for their teams. And we got, every team that's in the hunt right now has not been in the hunt for a long time. I mean, the Lakers are out, Golden State's out, San Antonio's out. I mean, who would have thunk it? I mean, these are the teams that have been dominant. And so now you got Denver and Phoenix. Phoenix? Oh my God. Brooklyn. You know, Brooklyn's a relatively new team. And go Jay-Z, Brooklyn, Kevin Durant. KD stepped up. KD stepped up. He showed you last night why they got him. It's KD. You know, I don't know if I'm pulling for them or Phoenix, but, you know, I think I'm pulling for one of them. But anyway, you know, just want to talk a little bit about sports. But I got to talk about this stuff that's happening in D.C. You know, I mentioned last week this Marjorie Taylor Greene chick, you know. So somebody got her to get up and they wrote a script for her to say that she apologized for saying that Nancy Pelosi was sort of like the Nazis that killed the Jews during the Holocaust. Now, she said that stuff. And now she's backing up off of it. But backing up off stuff doesn't mean that you never said it. So backing up off it says that you realize that you made a mistake. But it doesn't say that you've never said it. So here's the point. We have sent people to Congress, the Congress of the United States of America. Congress should be sort of like the where they send priests and clerics and people who have the potential to be pope, and you know, the folks that are vying for the presidency and leadership. That's what Congress is. Almost sacred. Almost sacred. Well, it ain't really sacred now, but it should be almost sacred. And we have somebody in Congress who is willing to stand up and say that another congressman is a Nazi, that another congresswoman, compare her to a Hitler or to somebody in the Nazi party that killed and exterminated people. So walking that back, bagging up off that, in other words, to me, that don't mean diddly. It doesn't mean anything, because the fact that you said it says to me that you mean it. And it really truly gets to this, that the underlying problem with the people in this country that are racist, sexist, in my opinion, anti what the American ideals are supposed to be. The underlying problem is we're not having true and honest discussions about who they are and what they're saying. I mean, who are these folks? I mean, who are these QAnon folks? The Congress of the United States has said congressmen, people in office, folks who are hiding and cowering in fear on January 6th are saying out loud to the press that these were tourists. Just another group of tourists. They broke windows. People died. They assaulted folks. They vandalized this office, this congressional building. And these folks are willing to say that they were just tourists, and there's nothing to see here. There's nothing that we need to think about. There's nothing that we need to investigate. And so when we see people who are willing to coalesce and people who are willing to go along because of some political reason, because they want to win an office, because these folks may be associated with them or their party, and they're willing to go along, acquiesce, turn a deaf ear, turn a blind eye to this kind of activity, then we are in trouble as a nation. I know Biden met with Putin today, and I hope you got a chance. I did this. I watched the CNN accounts for the meeting, and then I watched the Fox accounts of the meeting. And you would think that we lived in two different countries. You would almost think that one of them was the Russian news agency and another one was the American news agency. because their depiction and connotation and the way they described what happened were just so polar opposite of each other. I mean, Fox talked about how Putin destroyed Biden, but we know Fox that's the party of QAnon. Used to be the party of the Republicans, but the Republicans have ceded their position to QAnon and the fringe folks. So it's the party of QAnon. It's the party of Mo Brooks. It's the party of formerly Jeff Sessions. It's a party of Bill Barr, who the news reports have shown has just abdicated all of his responsibility as the attorney general, former attorney general, and a lawyer and a person who's supposed to be an officer of the court, who just bent over for the former president. I mean, all this stuff, brothers and sisters, is just ridiculous. And I understand that some people are going to look at me and say, oh, he's partisan, and he's partisan toward Democrats. But I'll just be honest with you. Democrats, in my mind right now, are making more sense than Republicans. And although I probably have voted for the Democrats 95% of the time I've voted since 1970 or so, or whenever I first began to vote. But it wasn't because I considered myself a Democrat. It's because the positions and policies that the Democrats represented and supported fit what I thought. But even if you have been a Republican or voted Republican for as long as I have voted Democrat, to say to me that you believe that the positions and policies that the folks that are in this Republican Party are demonstrating and supporting right now represents what you learned in school, what your mama and daddy taught you, what you believed when you recited the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, when you learned about the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, where all men are created equal. If you believe that these folks are supporting those kinds of ideals, then you've obviously either been brainwashed. Then I want to let that sit in for a minute. Brainwashed by some right-wing media. Brainwashed because you're concerned about your position in this country in terms of being the majority and the rulers. Brainwashed because somebody told you that Brown is going to be in power in the next 40 or 50 years. Brainwashed because your own people have stole your wealth for the last half century. Then you're brainwashed. So I want you to wake up, because if you ever wake up, and I'm talking to my white brothers and sisters, my white middle class brothers and sisters, the ones that make from 50 to 250,000 or 300,000 a year, but who still have a mortgage, who want to identify with the Bezos and Warren Buffett's, the billionaires that don't pay taxes, and we do. I'm with you. Hate paying taxes, but I have to, because I don't have the tax breaks that they have. Brainwashed to think that you're with them and not with me. To think that you're with them, that you're with Warren Buffett, Bezos, Elon Musk. No, you're not with them. You're more with Bob Dickerson. Because we got more in common economically than you got with them. And so you should be thinking like I'm thinking about how we take better control of our situation, of the economy that we are living in, to make sure that we can provide a better living and better opportunity for our people. So anyway, I just gotta, say that because I think this underlying problem about racial attitudes in our country, will never be solved until we get rid of the racial attitudes, until we understand that it is about race, but it's not. It's about race when you discriminate against someone because they're black or brown. It's about race when you don't acknowledge the fact that black and brown people have been stolen from land, labor, income, wealth, ideas, creativity for the last 400 years. So that's about race. But it's also about income when you realize that for the past half century in this country, when we have been our most productive ever, that the middle class has gone backwards and the billionaire class has flourished. So if you're in the billionaire class, I get it. But if you're not, you need to be here with me. And the final thing I really want to say today, before wait a minute, hold on, I gotta get my this is that Jay-Z cognac. What's the name of it? The Jay-Z cognac. Staff is going around trying to find out the name of the Jay-Z cognac. Do say. This is So Jay-Z, that's a brother, Jay-Z. Jay-Z cognac. Do say. Why are you smiling like that? I have a sip of that and clear my throat. The last thing I want to say, I posted a few things about truth. And truth is really important. We need people who are willing to tell the truth regardless of the consequences. To tell the truth regardless of who it impacts or who it affects. To tell the truth and not a variation of the truth. So there is no such thing as his truth and it being true, my truth and it being true, their truth. So there's one truth. It's either true or it's not. We've taken the classes in school. The answers are true or false. And there wasn't any gray area for you to say, well, I don't really know. It's a little true and it's a little false. No. Truth, because truth is valuable. Truth is valuable. And truth can't be sold. Truth can't be bought. Truth can't be won by interesting and compelling arguments and conversation. Truth is just that. And so what I want us to do as people in this country and in this community is to search ourselves and embrace what is real, what is true, what is really true, and get away from what is true for a moment, what is true for a situation, what is true for one person, and true for someone else. So anyway, Saturday is June 19th. It's a very special day for me for a lot of reasons. First and foremost, my middle daughter, Allison Dickerson Posey, was born that day. She was actually born on Father's Day, which was June 19th, she may not want me to tell the date. 1988. You know her age anyway. But it's also the date that the slaves in Texas got the word that Abraham Lincoln had signed the Emancipation Proclamation. And so at the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute, as well as many places across this country, we are going to be celebrating freedom, celebrating freedom. June 19th for Black folks is becoming what July 4th is for white folks. So a day of freedom, a day of emancipation, a day that the proclamation was acknowledged across this land. But it's one thing if you're Black, and I'm going to have a T-shirt on June 19th in the Kelly Ingram Park and around our Birmingham Civil Rights Institute. And my T-shirt is going to say free-ish, free-ish. That was in 1865 when Lincoln signed it. Free-ish. Free-ish means that we're free, sort of, that we're free, kind of, that we're free-ish. So while we're celebrating that day, and we love Juneteenth for a whole lot of reasons, as I've mentioned, the one thing that we know that our struggle continues because we're only free-ish. And this is Bob Dickerson within the Black.